Nate!
Greg! Hello, how are you doing? Welcome once again.
Welcome, everybody.
Live. We are here streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, and now for the first time
on Instagram.
We figured it out. We're in the modern era, Greg.
Yep, those of
folks who perhaps new to this program, what we do here is the American Birding Association maintains a bunch of groups on Facebook. One of which is called "What's This Bird?" It's sort of a community-driven bird identification group, and frequently, we get a lot of traffic on that group. A lot of people helping to identify birds in lots of different places.
Yep.
And one of the things we like to do every once in a while is to grab a few of those really interesting items that we have talked about, that people have discussed on the Facebook group, and bring them here live to talk a little bit more about bird identification.
Yep.
How you go about identifying those birds. And we're excited to do that. We're live on all the social medias. Well, not all. Three of them.
Three of them.
To talk birds and birding. And if you have any comments, questions, bird conversation topics that you want to add to this group, please let us know. This is Bird Identification by Highwire here. We're working without a net.
Yeah,
I'm excited to talk bird identification with you. Look at all the people on YouTube. Greg.
I am Greg Neise. That's Nate Swick. And we watch the comments on YouTube, Facebook, and now Instagram for those of you joining us on Instagram.
Yeah,
and
hello.
So if you've got, welcome for the first time. If you've got something to say, you want to give us a shout out, or you have a question or a comment, drop it in the comment section, and we're watching, and we will do our best to get to it.
Absolutely. So just a few shout outs before we get going, Greg. Hi to Buddy Campbell from Beaufort. Marsha from Maryland, Addie Willow from Washington, Julia from Sedona, Arizona, Amy from Westfield, Indiana, Alan from Fresno, Susan from West Vancouver, British Columbia, Neely folk from Western Massachusetts. So many fun people.
Yeah.
Hello to you all. I can't get to you all. There's so many of you now on YouTube these days. We're quite the. I wouldn't say we're a phenomenon, but
Yeah,
we've got a lot of people there.
Bill Crean says there's a bearded Neise and a bearded Swick. I guess that's right. Yeah,
I guess that's us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been threatening to shave my beard for a while now, but my kids won't let me.
It's looking nice on you. You should keep it.
All right.
You should keep it. All right. Hey, I don't know about you, but for us in the Great Lakes, fall vagrant season has started.
Yeah, it's happening.
Migration has started. You know, we always try to do a theme for these shows. Well, I try. Sometimes I don't quite get there because what I put up here is dictated by what lands in the group. So
it's true. There's a seasonal rhythm to what lands in the group typically, and you can usually tell what time of year it is just by scrolling through some of these pictures that people are having trouble with. Late summer is molt season for a lot of species out there, so you get a lot of really messy looking birds and young birds, and that confuses a lot of people. And so there's a theme there, and we will be talking a lot about messy looking young birds for those of you out there.
Yes, and this will probably be the last one. We've done some messy looking young birds the last couple of shows we've done here. Tis the season is probably the last one of those for the year because fall migration is hitting hard. We've had not only some late summer vagrants here in the Western Great Lakes, we've had some great early migrants. This last week, we had long-tailed Jaeger and Sabin's gull.
Yeah, we had Sabin's gull down here too, well inland.
Yeah, and you know, I've always remarked how long those two species travel together. Like when you see one, you're gonna find the other one somewhere, and that's even happened to me on the same day where we found a Jaeger and then just look at that, there's a Sabin's gull there too.
We've been having a lot of kind of late evening, late afternoon kind of thunderstorms that pop up. That's a real common thing here in the southeast. And they knock down a lot of those kind of, migrant birds that are a lot of, long-tailed Jaeger and Sabin's gull, classically sort of pelagic species. You see them on the ocean, but they do migrate over the continent, and they don't put down all that often.
Yeah.
Except when you get some thunderstorms or whatever, kind of early in the morning, it kind of knocks them down, and they'll hang out for a little while before heading out towards the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, and for those of you that are inland birders. And if you have some reservoirs near you or dams, with big spillways, check that out because this time of year you'll find some good stuff. And there's been some interesting vagrants. New Mexico just had its first South Polar skua.
Some pretty wild photos of South Polar skua out there. They're stealing fish from great blue herons and whatnot. I always love those weird species pairs.
Do you remember? I think it was a great skua that set up shop in Texas someplace.
There was another South Polar skua.
Or was it a South Polar skua?
It was in Oklahoma City about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
A similar situation.
But
like
this
a golf
one,
course pond. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was at a bigger lake. It was like it was at a reservoir, and this one was snatching cattle egrets out of the sky and killing them and eating them. It was
classic skua behavior.
Total dinosaur. Yeah, it was awesome. All right, Jacob.
Shout out to Bigfoot's Demise on Instagram, who said got their first green heron at a marsh.
Yeah.
Great time of year to see green heron. They're awfully secretive a lot of the year. But once those babies come out of the nest, you'll see them kind of bopping around awkwardly on willows and whatnot on small ponds all over the place. Really, really neat birds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love a green heron.
And talking about vagrants, we got Jacob Meyer mentions the common ring plovers all over the place.
All over the place.
That's
in 5 places.
Well,
which is all over the place.
That's all over the place, really.
For that species, yeah.
And I think it was Alvaro Jaramillo on one of the forums made a comment, and this is bearing out both with rough and common ring plover. These birds breed. Well, the plover breeds across the Canadian Arctic and has a pretty big breeding
A common ring
population.
plover?
Yes.
They're in Nunavut. They're on Baffin Island mostly.
They're on Baffin Island, but they're also in Alaska, and they're also, I believe, in Greenland.
They're in Greenland for sure.
And and northern Alaska. And those birds may be starting to migrate through North America rather than going back to Asia as they had been. And I will bet that sometime in the next few years, a breeding ground for ruff will be found somewhere up there.
Oh, for sure.
They're up there. They're up there. I mean,
somewhere.
it's only a matter of time until we stop considering ruff as a rare bird and just a normal migrant.
I think common ring plover is probably one of those species that has been present in the on the continent of North America more frequently than people give credit for. But it's such a tough identification from semi-palmated plover that I think birders are starting to get a handle on that a little bit better, and we're starting to see records because of it.
Yeah, we've also got a mention here of purple gallinule in Orange County, California. That's rails will rail, man. They just go places. Yeah, well, that's spotted rail in Tennessee.
Or Kentucky.
Yeah, Tennessee or Kentucky. We're not 100% certain yet. Yep. There's a interesting little sidebar to that, and I know we got to get into our birds here, but we got like 2 minutes.
We've been vamping.
We got 2 minutes here. So one of my grade school friends, who I haven't seen since grade school, contacted me because she knew I worked at Lincoln Park Zoo at one time and had connections and friends there. If I could help her son get an internship, a veterinary internship. So I made a couple of calls, and her son got an internship. He is now a veterinarian and has his own practice or works at a big practice. I'm not sure. That's the guy who found the spotted rail.
Oh, really?
He is not a birder. He was on vacation with his fiance. And that's the guy who found the spot. Talk about a small world.
Small world.
Yeah.
What a small world.
All right, we got ruff in Orange County. Orange Empire says Jeff Blanchard, great white heron in Maine. That's a good one. Yeah, they get around. But we've got birds and things to get to. But before we do, you've got to tell us.
What a big get. What a big get on the American Birding Podcast.
Absolutely.
Bonner Black joined me for a conversation. She's got a brand new EP out now. You can find it on her website, bonnerblack.com, called Little Bird in a Big Sky. That song in particular inspired a bit by her deep dive into birding and birding culture. If you're on Instagram and you're a birder, you're probably familiar with her. She's a fun follow.
Yep.
And we had a great conversation. Bonner is fabulous, and go listen to her music. She's great.
Yes. All right. Let's do this. First bird is New York, and I think this is going to be a little bit biased Eastern. That's just the way these things work out. So New York for the first one. What do you got, Nate? What do you think?
So not a lot to go on this bird, but it's not just the best quality photo, which does not help, but we get a lot of that in What's This Bird, and part of the fun is deciphering some of these difficult photos to figure out what the bird is. Things to look at. This is kind of a very compact bird with a long tail and a big chunky bullhead and a relatively thick-based conical bill, kind of a seed-eating bill. When we think about seed-eating birds in the ABA area, the first ones that come to mind are certainly our sparrows and our finches. I think we can rule finch out because that long tail. Finches are, we have a handful of finch species in North America, but for the most part, they are kind of long-bodied and short-tailed and long-winged. They have a very distinctive shape. This is a roundish, looks like a cake pop looking bird with a long tail. This is one of our North American sparrows. So when we think about sparrows,
I would agree. And just judging by the leaves and everything else, it's a little one. It's a little guy. And let's jump in and take a look and see. We have already got a couple of guests. I'm sorry, a couple of viewers here guessing. We're not going to get to those just yet, but let's look at the.
My volume is low. A couple of people.
Yeah,
said,
I just got you. I just cranked you
juice
up.
me a little bit. I can also juice myself.
I just gave you some juice here.
Nice, thanks. I'm gonna be in your ears.
You are
ear holes.
Easy there. So here we go. We got our bird there up at the top left.
Yeah.
And
sparrows and bunting, which is essentially a funky sparrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we think about sparrows, we always kind of want to think about breaking them into genera.
Yes, we do.
What we talk about here. There are lots of different sparrows, but they can be roughly broken into groups based on the genus that they are in. Things like shape, things like amount of streaking on the breast. Those are all sort of things we want to talk about. For this, things like bare part color, which is leg color.
That's key.
Color.
Yep.
So this bird has not a lot of streaking on the breast. It looks like it's got some messy feathers there. It's probably actively molting. That dark spot is not the sort of stick pin that we associate with things like fox sparrow and song sparrow. That is, birds' feathers are. We only see the outer part of birds' feathers when we're looking at them. What they have, kind of on the inner part of it, are very dark, kind of fluffy, downy part of all the body feathers. It's because black absorbs heat, so it's basically like wearing a big black parka and then putting something colorful like a colorful sweater on the outside of it. So what you're seeing there is essentially the feathers kind of broken apart along there are lines on the bird's body, like a part in someone's hair where the feathers kind of grow along them, and there's a big one that goes right down the middle of the bird's belly, chest, and we're seeing that kind of brush apart there a little bit, and you're seeing the base of the feathers rather than any sort of real stick pin that you might associate with something like a song sparrow.
Absolutely, yeah. And what Nate was talking about, for those of you who eat chicken, next time you get a chicken at the store before you cook it, you'll notice all the bumps are in patterns, and those are feather tracts, and you learn where those,
you can see it on turkey.
You can see it on turkey.
Feather tracks. Right. That's what I was looking for.
They grow in tracks, and the bird has 2 tracts of feathers that go across the breast and down to the belly, and you can separate those. And banders will separate those to look for brood patches and check for fat.
So fat,
and.
Birds wear their fat like right there on the surface of their skin. So if you kind of blow, if you ever seen a bander like kind of hold a bird and then blow on the feathers, so kind of moving those feathers out of the way so you can see the subcutaneous fat there.
Exactly.
The health of a bird.
Exactly. And so that's what you're seeing, the dark spots on that bird's chest. But other than that, it has no features whatsoever. I mean,
we're seeing the least featureful part of this bird,
right?
The front of it.
But there's no pattern. I mean, we see a black eye in an open face with
real
no
open face. Yep.
No contrast or anything there at all. We see a kind of a thickish, like you mentioned earlier, sparrow bill, and we can definitely see that it's pale and pink. And all of the birds here that we're comparing it to can show a bill like that. But, we can kind of run through here a little bit the spies. Well, first thing we can do is get indigo bunting out of the way. It is not an indigo bunting because the bill is too small, and it's not really brown. It's just kind of a gray.
It's like sand. Yeah,
and also that tail is way too long.
Way too long. Yeah, indigo buntings in general, indigo painted lazuli, all those kind of passerina buntings. My dog is barking over here.
Hi, dog.
I'll have to let her out of my office. They're kind of long-bodied, short-tailed, right?
Yep.
That's the shape of passerina in the sparrow, in the emberizids. We're looking for like a spizella sparrow, which are kind of your field sparrow, your chipping sparrow, those kind of birds. They're kind of compact little bodies, real long tail.
Yep.
And you've got the two there. I think chipping and field are the two that we're kind of zeroing in on here, with some clear differences between the two, though.
Yeah. Now we've got clay colored in here too, and clay colored. Both clay colored and chipping would show some pattern in the face, especially below the eye. You would see something happening there. Field sparrow has this really blank long-tailed, rounded tail look to it. And when you see it sitting up in a tree like this, like you said, it's like a lollipop, or a popsicle. Yeah, a popsicle. And so, I mean, this is a field sparrow. It's got that super duper long tail. It's got that completely open face, that little
blank
blank open face with a flat head, and that pink bill. And another bird. Sorry, I got distracted by one of the comments over here. I'm watching comments on 3 different places.
There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. And my hummingbird feeder just alerted me that there's a hummingbird on my feeder.
Oh, you got one of those fancy feeders?
I just got it a couple days ago. It's really cool. I didn't think I'd like it, but I'm digging it. So I showed it to one of our colleagues, Michael Redder, and Redder being Redder, first thing he said is Worthen sparrow, of course, which for those of you who are not familiar.
True. Do you want to take the time to differentiate a Worthen sparrow?
Only one thing. Only one thing. For those of you who aren't aware, Worthen sparrow is virtually identical to field sparrow. It is an extremely local, very rare, endemic in northern Mexico.
Northwest Mexico.
Yes, there is one record in the ABA area that's in New Mexico.
Like in New Mexico, like the 19th century.
Yeah, it's like a specimen from.
I gotta let my dog out.
Okay, it's a specimen from 100 years ago. But Michael, being Michael, looked at this photo and said, "Oh well, it can't be a Worthen sparrow because it has pink feet." And Worthen sparrow has.
Oh, there you go.
Worthen sparrow has dark legs. So
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So we can rule out.
Aside from location,
we can rule out Worthen's sparrow. Okay. Here we go. On to number 2.
Yeah, and we can rule out. Yeah, you already talked about why chipping. So I think chipping sparrow is a great shout. Can I pull that back just 1 second? Because I think chipping sparrow is one of the more difficult to identify birds this time of year because they are so different between their summer plumage and their winter plumage. And then you throw in those super streaky little juvenile birds that are bopping around all over the place right now. Chipping sparrow can be a real tough one.
Yeah.
But those young chipping sparrows and winter chipping sparrow, I should say, has that pink bill too, but not quite as pale as this field sparrow is.
And there's one thing that chipping sparrows do that the other spizellas do not this time of year that can be really, really confusing, is family groups and little flocks will get high up in the trees and feed like warblers. And you're looking at these birds, you're like, what the hell is that? Because they're together, they're acting like warblers, but they're chipping sparrows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're still singing too. I heard one this morning.
Yeah. All right. This is a great photograph. Look at all that tick seed, man.
Greg showed me this and I'm like, is there a bird in here?
I would not want to be walking through that. And I certainly wouldn't want my dog in that. You'd spend 3 hours. I got onto this program here a little bit later than usual because I was brushing my border collie outside and got distracted by pulling out a mountain of hair and a few of these things out of her.
These things are the worst. They stick to everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess that's their point. That's the point.
That's the point. Yeah. So, is there even a bird in there? I think we can see a bird at the bottom left. It looks like an eye poking through a hole in the weed.
That's where I would guess the bird is.
Nate and I have often said when we see pictures, especially pictures like this, we have often said that, boy, if I saw this bird in the field, like if I saw it move for just a couple of seconds, it was like 1 second, I'd be able to identify it. So
behavior is such a useful field mark that when we are talking about these sort of poor photos of birds is often lost, but love a video that shows it. Thank you, whoever sent this in. Because it's instantly identifiable.
It is instantly identifiable.
Look at it go. Look at it go. Look like it's mostly kind of a grayish grayish brown.
Couple little flashes of
there's a
dull
couple
yellow.
Little flashes of yellow, especially on the chin.
Yep.
And it's got some underneath the tail, and it's got a big old tail that is waving around like a flag.
Yep.
Yeah. Not like there's a lot of birds that'll do this. wrens, warblers, buntings, sparrows, a lot of birds. That sort of movement in the flag, and I think you've done a nice job with the comp here, Greg, because that sort of movement makes me think warbler or wren.
Yep.
Those are the kind of birds that move around like that. Sparrows, chipping sparrow aside, as you mentioned, they tend to find a spot and stick to it a little bit and then kind of pick stuff off around them before they move on. They're not quite as active. I mean, I can just imagine there's no sound on this video, but I can imagine that bird like chitting
exactly
all the way, the whole time, and that's a wren and or warbler sort of thing.
Yeah, and the person who posted it thought it might be a sedge wren. It is not a sedge wren, because the one thing that we got a good look at. And I mislabeled that northern house wren, marsh wren. Oh my, I am sorry. The bird at the bottom center is a northern house wren. It is not a marsh wren. My apologies there. But it's not either wren that would be likely in that kind of a situation in Illinois at this time of year, because we saw the tail 2 or 3 times and we saw the back 2 or 3 times. And we can see those blurry pictures on the left. There's 3 we can see. The bird is an even green gray above. And so that rules out the wrens. That long tail being flipped around. Now, again, like we said at the beginning here, if you see this bird for even a couple of seconds, you can rule out a few things. And you can rule out orange-crowned warbler because it doesn't have
shape is wrong.
It doesn't have all that tail, and they just don't. And they don't do that. They don't flip their tail. They are very methodical. They spend a lot of time down in the underbrush in the fall,
especially in the fall.
Yeah.
So where was this location, Greg?
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois. That's right. At least where I live in the southeast, orange-crowned warbler is a very, very late migrant too. So it's useful to know when these birds are moving through. I don't know if that's the case in Northern Illinois. Things are a little bit earlier, but I don't even start like looking for orange-crowned warbler until the last week of September, first part of October. Like, it is a very late migrant in the southeast, and sometimes they overwinter. Like, it's a reasonably common wintering bird in some parts of the ABA area.
And I agree with that. The reason that I include it is because the pattern and stuff, it's reasonable as far as visual. But the beginning of fall migration, like things like birds start moving. It's like the bulk of them, like you say, they come through later. But at the very beginning of fall migration,
there's some weird stuff that comes through. Yeah, some weirdos.
The weirdos will come through, and it could be because of fire, especially this year.
I do wonder if that's going to be
birds. They'll move early, so you got to be aware of that.
Interesting comment on Facebook. Couple Ipsum lorem, sedge wren with the longish tails impersonating a cisticola. Kevin Moltomi from Kenya. Hey, how you doing? All the way from Kenya. Looks like the tawny-backed prinia they have in Kenya.
Oh yeah.
The interesting comments, because it is. I always think it's amazing how these birds fill in niches in different parts of the world. Like,
absolutely.
We don't have any prinias, obviously, or cisticolas in North America, and they don't have many wrens, in Africa. New World warblers are obviously New World warblers for a reason, but they're doing similar stuff.
Absolutely.
They're, filling similar shapes. They're doing similar things. They're acting in similar ways. I always think that's super amazing.
Absolutely. And let's see, where was I? Oh, there we are. So we can rule out orange-crowned warbler. We can rule out the wrens. Mourning warbler and common yellowthroat. Now, that can be a very difficult.
They like similar sort of stuff. They like to stay low to the ground. They like the real thick stuff. They're in the same genus.
They are in this.
They're doing similar things.
So there's a couple of things that give us a clue. And Nate, as you mentioned earlier, the way that it flips that big tail around, that is not something mourning warbler does.
Generally not.
And mourning warbler, even the dull ones, will show some yellow underneath all the way down. And we didn't see any of that at all. The most we got was a little tiny bit under the tail and a little bit in the throat. and I included 2 common yellowthroats here so you can see the amount of variation. Some of them are very dark and quite yellow underneath compared to the one directly above, which is mostly gray with just a little bit of just like lemon wash on the throat and the undertail coverts. And if you get a decent look at them, they always have like a little sort of a grayish brown patch on the flank. You can see it on that.
It's dark for sure.
Yeah. It doesn't go. You'll notice that the mourning warbler doesn't show any kind of a flank patch whatsoever. That yellow, it may be a little muddled and stuff, but it's even throughout. Whereas on both of the common yellowthroats there, you can see that they have a patch on the flank that's different from the rest of the belly and breast.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yes.
Common yellowthroat is our bird here. A lot of these going through. They love that kind of really dense, brushy stuff, especially this time of year. There's a lot of insects down there. And another thing I want to point out, the middle picture of common yellowthroat. Look at those feet. Common yellowthroat's got like massive feet for a warbler.
Yes, it does.
One of those things that you might notice if you get a good look at them. They're kind of funky shaped, very unique. But yeah, they always do this thing where they're bopping that tail back and forth. And I can, as I said, I can just hear this bird yelling at me.
Yeah. Chat.
Chat. Yeah. That's what they do.
Yep.
Look
All
for
right.
'em.
Yep. So this is a common yellowthroat. And Neely folks says, I think I saw a bunting like that today. I mean, indigo buntings are definitely...
They like the same sort of habitat.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in the same places for sure, but they tend not to behave in the same way as a common yellowthroat. They're more closely related to sparrows, so they do tend to act like sparrows. They will kind of skulk through this sort of dense area, but they're never going to be bopping their tail back and forth. They're going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit more compact. They tend, just in my experience, not to be quite as noisy. Common yellowthroats are always making noise.
I agree, and you know, there's 2 types of skulkers, and I wouldn't call indigo bunting or any of the bunting. Well, painted,
it's not a classic skulker.
Painted buntings like to skulk. But there's birds like the common yellowthroat and sedge wren, and a few others that when they get disturbed by a birder walking through their habitat, their place, they kind of dive in a little bit and do what this yellowthroat was doing in the video, where it kind of just bounces around and hides behind the foliage and, you know, does that kind of stuff. Or they tee up and they tee up and get a look at you. And sparrows tend to tee up. You come across sparrows in the brush, they will fly 10 feet away and they'll tee up and look at you and then make a decision about whether to fly further away or go back to feeding. Whereas yellowthroat wrens and a few others will dive down into the brush and just kind of hide from you and look at you like this.
For sure. Did this person post the video to
Yes.
What's This Bird?
Yes.
Amazing. Love it. More videos, please.
Yes, more videos, please. All right, now we are going to Maine. Stripy little thing.
Stripy little thing. Let's break it down into groups. That's sort of where we start. We've got a big round body, big round head, reasonably longish tail, and a thickish bill. We've got that conical, thick, seed-cracking bill. So we're thinking sparrow or finch kind of right off the bat.
Yeah.
As I talked about earlier, the sparrow shape is a bit different than a finch shape. Finches tend to have longer bodies and shorter tails. Almost that the wings are getting, halfway down, or in some cases very close to the tip of the tail. They have kind of longish wings because a lot of finches are quite nomadic. Thinking of things like purple and Cassin's finch, whereas house finch is a little bit different. But this bird doesn't have that. This is a big round body, big round head, and a long tail. So I think we can safely put this in our sparrow group. But it's got some streaking, but not a ton. Interesting bird, Greg.
Yeah, and these like I said earlier, the theme today that just sort of happened, which is awesome. It is kind of messy young songbirds, and so there you get a lot of birds that look like this, and as
coming into their first plumage.
Yeah.
First basic plumage, I guess, is the technical term.
Precisely. And so what you'll find is, what Nate was just mentioning is all birds, when they come out of the nest, they have this juvenile plumage. And a lot of people use juvenile to sort of like span all of the
like
not breeding plumage or adult
not
plumage.
Adult bird.
Yeah, but there is actually a distinct juvenile plumage, and those are the first feathers that the bird has when it fledges, when it comes out of the nest.
First ones after the down.
And a lot of times, most of the time, those feathers don't look anything like what you're going to see in most field guides.
Frequently, they're dark and streaky, and they're not super high quality feathers too, because they tend to wear down. They tend to break much easier than a lot of the feathers that you'll get later on, because they only hold them for up to 2 months, which is the shortest amount of time that they'll have any sort of body feathers.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a really nice photograph. So you can see a lot of detail. And you can see that the breast feathers and the rump, and especially the head, the feathers look real ratty, and they're kind of like falling apart, coming out. But look at how nice and crisp and perfect the wing feathers are.
Yeah, and the tail too.
And those rounded tips on the primary feathers with those perfect little fringed edges. That just yells young bird, first year bird. They have those perfect wing feathers with those perfect round fringed edges.
Yep. They will hold those wing feathers for more than a year. So they'll grow those wing feathers in, and they won't change them again until next fall.
Right.
So a lot of adult birds are gonna, molt their flight feathers, their wings and their tail, in the coming months. So they've got to hold those wing feathers for quite a long time in their first year. And a lot of times they'll have, if you can oftentimes identify like a second year bird in these sort of passerine birds, because they will have kind of clean, beautiful body plumage, but the feathers are starting to get worn by that second year. So they'll be kind of dingy or brownish because they're sun faded. And so a lot of times you can identify birds like that. Sparrows, towhees, buntings, birds like that are sort of cardinals, are sort of notorious for showing that more than other birds.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the possibilities.
We got a sparrow here. Sparrow?
We've got a sparrow. Which sparrow? Okay, so starting at the top right with chipping sparrow, we can rule out chipping sparrow because this bird does not have that dark line through the eye, which we can see pretty clearly in chipping sparrow and virtually any plumage. And this bird, we can see the head. The head is fairly plain.
Unicolored.
Yeah. And
not plain in the way the field sparrow was earlier in our
Exactly. White-throated sparrow. A couple things not right for white-throated sparrow. White-throated sparrow shows some white tips on the wing covert feathers, what we call the wing bars. And but most importantly, this bird's bill isn't big enough. It's got a small bill.
White-throated sparrow in the sparrow genus Zonotrichia, along with Harris's sparrow and white crown sparrow and golden crown sparrow out west. They are big sparrows. Like, they are big-bodied, big-headed, strong legs, and big build. And this bird does not have the bill.
It doesn't. And I think anywhere in the ABA area, when you're talking about sparrows, you've got to throw song sparrow in, because young song sparrows can look like anything. And
it's true. And there's so much diversity in song sparrows across the width of North America as well.
Exactly. But the song sparrow always has some pattern on the face, kind of like chipping sparrow, but more. It's got a malar, it's got a mustache, it's got a little bit of a supercilium or a postocular line, and it usually has some heavier streaking on the back. But the thing that we get back to is the structure of that bill. The bill is that
kind of small,
kind of small, kind of thin. And that, I think there's already been several people that have said dark-eyed junco. Those people got it right. if you look at the bird in the top left there, you can see some of the gray feathers coming in on the tail, and the lower back. But dark-eyed junco is one of the most misidentified birds in this plumage. When you see it, you're like, what the heck is that? Because it's all streaky and kind of open-faced, and
it's a brain bird. We call them those kind of birds that make your brain kind of short circuit. They're kind of brain birds. Young juncos are notorious for that sort of thing. If you're not familiar with them, if you don't live where they breed, like in the West, in the mountains, in the Southern Appalachians, Southern Canada, places like that. Because a lot of us in North America, a lot of birders here are familiar with very familiar with dark-eyed juncos.
Yes.
Super common feeder bird across the entirety of the continent. Pretty variable as well. But these young birds all kind of look very similar, and they look very different from the adult, kind of very clean cut adult birds that we're very familiar with, especially in the East. Those slate-colored dark-eyed juncos, which are just that clean gray all the way through. Once you see a streaky junco, it can kind of blow your mind a little bit.
Yeah, and a couple of others. So you'll notice that one in the center there, on the center left. Mm-hmm. You see how it's got the little bit of white tips on the greater coverts there, the big wing bar,
there. Big wing
similar to white-throated sparrow. And in that, they go through stages, and like we said earlier, it's pretty rapid. Actually, the bird in the center there is younger than the bird above by a little bit. And then the bird
they
below,
lose that juvenile plumage very quickly.
And then the bird below is a little bit older than the other two. I think the bird at the bottom left is most similar to our mystery bird. Well, not a mystery anymore. But that change in plumage happens like between July and September. It happens in a matter of short weeks. And if you catch them like right out of the nest like that, they're really, really, really confusing. So L. Bauer asked the difference between juvenile and immature. We had just been talking about that. Juvenile plumage are the so if we look at the juncos, the two birds in the comp, so the top center bird and the one below it to the left, those are juvenile plumage. And those feathers, those brown, streaky feathers, those will be gone in a matter of 6 to 8 weeks max. And then you'll see the bird at the bottom left there. It's got the gray feathers that we associate with dark-eyed junco coming in. And then, like I said, by September, it will look like what you think an immature or female junco looks like. And that is immature. So
and if you how I imagine this, you've got a big circle that is all subadult. Any bird that is not an adult bird. And inside that, a little bit smaller circle is immature. What we might say is not a bird that can breed. And then even within that, even smaller circle is juvenile. Or juvenile plumage, juvenile birds. And so the way I do it is that I usually just use the word subadult because it's so all encompassing and just catches all the birds that are not adult birds.
Okay.
Hope that helps.
All right. So yes, our bird is a dark-eyed junco, and we always have. I mean, we've been doing this here for years, and this time of year we get a junco every year about this time. And
and if you're an ear birder, dark-eyed junco is another one of those birds that can throw you too, because they've got this kind of rhythmic chipping song that sounds so much like pine warbler and chipping sparrow and. There's a handful of other birds that are similar in that sort of vein. And when they start singing, like right before they leave in March and April, they can really throw you there as well.
One last thing before we move on to our next brain bird, and this one is a brain bird.
Got me.
What we said about video earlier, or just watching a bird in the field. If you were watching this junco for a few minutes or less, it would eventually move and give you a little flash of white in the tail, which
you'd see the white belly a little bit better too.
Yeah, but I mean, even right out of the nest, they have that white flash, the white outer tail feathers, And as the bird moved, flicked its tail, you would see that. All right.
Because as we said, those flight feathers, tail and wings
Yep.
are the ones that they're going to hold for more than a year. So those are the closest to adult feathers that they will have.
Yep. All right. Here is today's real brain bird.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Oh no, we've got one more. Actually, this one.
Well, the other one. The other one.
The next one. The next one's worse.
Okay. I say different. I
This one's
thought,
definitely a brain bird.
I thought this one was got me more than the one after this. But all right.
I
cool.
narrowed this one down to the 2 finalists pretty quickly. The other one, like, I had no idea where to even put it. So we'll just put a pin in that.
Yeah,
one.
put a pin in that one.
Wait for about 5 minutes for that discussion.
Yeah. Okay, L. Bauer says, thanks, but Nate said juvenile is within immature category. Yeah.
Immature is just any bird that's not essentially not an adult or not breeding, not sexually mature, right?
Right.
So any bird so juvenile, technically speaking, is within the immature category.
Yes.
Immature is one of those words that is not super clear, which is why I prefer subadult.
Yeah.
Immature, juvenile and subadult, or first year, second year. Some of those birds have very distinctive young plumages, things like, I don't know, bald eagle. Some of those birds that take a long time to mature sort of fit into that category. But
yeah, exactly. Like for bald eagle, which takes 4 years to reach maturity, you've got juvenile, you've got first, second, third, fourth year.
Gulls are the same way.
And gulls. You can call all of that immature or subadult.
Immature or subadult.
Yeah.
Those are kind of interchangeable.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got this immature bird.
This is definitely an immature bird. It is holding on to a lot of its juvenile plumage.
Yes, from Newfoundland.
That opens up a lot of possibilities.
It
a lot
does.
of breeding birds, a lot of boreal breeding birds in Newfoundland.
This was in eastern Newfoundland, if I remember correctly. And what the heck is this? Oh, I got.
Well, this is where most of the birders are.
I got another hummingbird at my feet, or my phone just keeps blowing up.
You're gonna
with
be
that.
so distracted.
I am. It's crazy. Okay, so let's see here. We've got it. It's looking by the size of the branch. It's a small branch.
It's pretty small, but it
looks
feels
like
small to me.
It does. It looks like
It's got big feet.
It's got big feet. It's got a small bill. It's kind of
very small bill,
greenish and blackish and grayish, and wing bars. I think we can pretty safely call this a warbler. And
it's definitely a warbler. Small bird, long wings. You can't see the wingtips.
Yeah, you can't see.
Actually, you can see the tips
sticking out. Yep.
Beyond that branch. So very long wings. Little narrow insectivore bill. Definitely wood warbler here. Nothing else it could be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be
kinglets.
It could be a kinglet. It's the
too much going on.
There's too much going on for kinglet. And the kinglet would actually have a smaller bill. And a different shape.
Yeah.
Kinglets are really tiny little birds.
Yeah. Yes.
And little
long
little cotton balls.
Bird says warbler as opposed to kinglet.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of little birds that have kind of insectivorous bills. Kinglet, gnatcatcher, warbler. That's really about it.
Yeah, that is. What we've got going on here is really cool because wood warblers have ridiculously confusing juvenile plumage. ABA Birding Magazine Birding Magazine about 6-7 years ago, I think it was, did an article authored by Peter Pyle and a couple of others that looked into juvenile warbler plumage with pictures mostly from the boreal forest in Canada, and these were all common species that we all see every year at one point or another. None of them were immediately identifiable.
Yeah.
And the article's
boreal breeding ones are tough.
The article's like 29 pages long, littered with pictures. It's a great article because you can pick and run through it easily, or you can sit down and deep dive into it. But it's like 20, 25, 29 pages of these pictures that don't look like anything in any field guide or anything you've seen. And that's
why would you illustrate them in the field guide much? They don't show up much in the places where birders are.
Because
they're in the boreal. They are way up there where there are not very many people.
Exactly. And they lose that juvenile plumage even faster, even faster than some of the sparrows and things, which might hang on to it. And then what's really fun about juvenile plumage, especially in a couple of species, are notorious. Yellow-rumped is notorious. They will hold they will hold on to that juvenile plumage through the winter and show up with it on their way back north and start molting then. And boy, are they confusing. But anyways, okay, so we've got this bird. It's got a bunch of green on it. It's got a bunch of black on it. It's got a bunch of gray. I don't really see any brown.
No. I'll tell you, Greg, when if I am approaching this bird, I am ignoring all of the parts of this bird that show juvenile plumage. I am completely discounting that. I am not even looking at it. I'm not even worried about it. I am looking at the new feathers that have come in, the first year feathers that have come in, that I can recognize, and I'm going from there. And so there's a warbler pair that is notoriously difficult, and I think we can narrow it down to those two birds. That is bay-breasted and blackpoll. I think it's worth talking about pine and Cape May as well, because those are the two that are most closely. But I think I am narrowing this down to blackpoll and bay-breasted warbler, because those are the two species that this looks most like. But pine warbler, it's a chimera. It looks like everything.
It looks like everything.
We had a pine warbler last time we did this show that was so weird that no one could figure out what it was. It looked like a dang mockingbird.
It did. It looked like a mockingbird.
So, yeah. And I think that the fact that this bird does not look anything like a mockingbird is actually a point in against pine warbler. Pine warbler is a big warbler, big bill, big-bodied,
lanky bird.
It's the most Vireo-esque of our warblers.
Yes.
And this bird looks nothing like that.
And
this bird's got a little tiny bill, and I think pine warbler would actually be a pretty rare bird in Newfoundland too. Certainly as a breeding bird. So this bird is clearly not long out of the nest.
Yeah,
so
we've got a Newfoundlander in Instagram.
Oh yeah, in Instagram they can tell me. I'm pretty sure pine warbler is a rare bird up there in any season. But I could look at the eBird maps and make sure. But that's my sense.
And a young Cape May warbler is also a bit of a chimera. And it can be streaky, it can be plain, it can be green, it can be gray. Couple of things with Cape May. It usually shows some obvious yellow around the face. Not always, but usually. And we can't really see it very well in this example, but it has a thin, decurved bill that is kind of a unique shape. And if you ever watch a Cape May warbler in conifer trees, they poke down into the little clusters of needles. And they use that little decurved bill to get in there and pull little things out of there.
And on the wintering grounds, they use it to pick through flowers. They drink nectar out of flowers.
Yes, and Cape May warbler in that first year plumage, when they come back in the spring and they hit the flowers, especially like the flowering crab apples and things like that, they stick their faces in there and get all this orange pollen all over their face and look really weird, and always throw off birders. Yellow rump warbler, always got to include yellow rump warbler when we're talking about them, because they're, I mentioned the green in this bird, but that green is extremely fresh. That green wasn't there a week before this photo was taken. And you can see all the black and gray and kind of, there's maybe a little bit of brownish streaking and mottling and everything. And so yellow rump warbler, it's going to be that gray blackish streaking all over, but it's always going to have those big bold eye arcs. But yellow rump warbler also is kind of a beefier bird. It's got a beefier bill. But always
Yeah,
solid,
real thick little bill.
always solid black legs and feet. And one of the things we can see here on this bird is we can see its foot really well.
Yeah. And if I may make one more point to Cape May warblers, which are truly one of our great warblers, I think top tier S tier warbler. They a lot of times they show a lot of streaking on the breast. Like they are very dark on the breast, and oftentimes it can be very dense. The French name for Cape May warbler is Paraline tigre, which means tiger warbler, which is always something I think about when there are Cape May warblers around.
Yep, the Latin name is
the Latin name.
Tigrina.
Tigrina, yeah. So they have that kind of yellowish, almost orangish breast that goes all the way across the under part of the bird, and it's got these real dark stripes. Somewhat fairly different than this bird, our mystery bird here.
Yes, and Ipsum Lorem on Facebook comments. I think David Sibley commented on this bird. Yes, he did.
The David Sibley?
Yeah, he pops into the group every now and then. When an interesting bird like this shows up, and I'll just read to you what he said, because we can cut to the chase on that one, because the next one looks like we're going to run over time a little bit, but that's fine.
Oh, we did. Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. David Sibley says definitely a blackpoll, molting out of grayish juvenile plumage into first winter plumage. Rarely,
which is one of the tougher plumages for blackpoll warbler.
Rarely photographed, and very cool to see one at this stage. The big wing feathers are not replaced until next summer, so they are always a familiar touchstone on these juvenile songbirds. Among warblers, this combination of green-edged primaries, white-edged tertials, and yellow toes is unique to blackpoll. Yes.
Yep.
So,
a lot of it, blackpoll and bay-breasted warblers, collectively baypoll warblers, are one of the classic confusing fall warbler, one of the legitimate confusing fall warbler.
Legitimate. Thank you.
Identification concerns. And honestly, I thought bay-breasted warbler on this bird when I first saw it, because bay-breasted warbler in fall has these super clean, like razor cut wing bars that are just absolutely pop. And it looks like this bird has a little bit of them coming in, but that's a great point made by David Sibley here. I am agreeing with David Sibley. What a stretch. The wings are a great touch point to look for on this bird, because those are the wings that they're going to hold until next year. Blackpoll warbler has a wing bar, but they are never quite as clean and crisp as the wing bars on a bay-breasted warbler. And this bird, does not have that. Absolutely does not have that.
One other quick thing about bay-breasted
blackpoll warbler, definitely on there.
Yeah, one other quick thing about bay-breasted versus blackpoll. Bay-breasted is a slightly heftier bird, it has a noticeably thicker bill. It has a kind of a unique shaped bill. And it's once you get familiar with that, you can do a bay-breasted versus blackpoll on structure. As well.
It's like Cooper Sharpshind.
Yeah.
You're never going to get 100% of them, but you can get pretty close.
Okay, brain bird number 2.
This one's wild. Drum roll.
Yeah. Look at that thing.
I looked at it. I looked at the location. Thoughts that went through my head. Black-headed grosbeak? No.
No, not in Ontario.
Not in Ontario. The angle is so weird on this bird, because I feel like we're getting it kind of foreshortened, and the head is so distracting on this thing, because it's not bald, but it's balding.
Yeah, or baldish.
Big old wing bars, which would rule out things like northern cardinal or I don't know. What else doesn't have wing bars? Any of the buntings, blue grosbeak. This bird is so weird.
Or a towhee. I mean, there's no streaking on this bird anywhere.
No.
So Olivia Crisco on YouTube ventures Oriole. Now that's a good suggestion there. Or tanager.
Another reasonable option.
Yeah. So I mean, a couple of things we can see here. We can see that it has pink feet. And it's got this kind of weird, buffy color
That
underneath.
color is throwing me,
And
it's like a female tanager. I
It
understand why
is.
people say tanager. It does look like a summer tanager, or a grosbeak, like orange, black-headed grosbeak.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's got, these dark wings with these kind of buffy wing bars. And I can guarantee you 100%. Aha, Eric Yanyo.
Oh, Eric Yanyo.
Eric Yanyo's getting
on to something.
Eric
there. He's onto
Yanyo's,
something.
yep, Eric Yanyo's tracking right here. For those of you who aren't on YouTube, Eric says, I think the beak looks bigger than it is due to the lack of feathering on the face and head. Ding, ding, ding.
That's a common illusion
With birds at this time.
birds.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are going to slap their foreheads when they realize what this bird is. So let's take a look and see. Survey says...
This doesn't help much.
But it does.
Yeah.
But it does. Okay. First thing that I talked about here when I started talking about this bird was the pink feet. Okay, that rules out the Orioles. Orioles have gray legs.
Yep, black, dark, gray. Yep, gray. Oh yeah, almost bluish gray.
Bluish gray, like Vireos. Scarlet Tanager would be the only tanager breeding in Ontario. They can have wing bars, but never as bold as like our bird. Yeah. And Katie is like, no, yep, you got it. It's an American goldfinch fledgling.
Yeah. So goldfinch. We were talking about finches. I was trying to lead up to this a little bit when we talk about finches versus sparrows because they have similar sorts of bills, but the body shapes are quite different. Finches have those kind of long, lanky bodies and relatively short little tails. The tail is foreshortened here, but it's clearly short.
Yeah.
It goes to show you how much the structure of a bird is determined by the feathers and how misleading it can be when those feathers are missing. Because this bill looks absolutely huge. And when this bird popped up, my very first thought, as were many people on here, was black-headed grosbeak, and then I went to blue grosbeak, like a female blue grosbeak perhaps, because it's got that kind of weird kind of tan color. And then I was kind of lost for a while, and then Greg moved on to the next slide, and I was like, oh, yeah. It's a goldfinch. It's a balding goldfinch.
It's a balding.
What a bird.
Yeah. And, I found that sort of weird buff color underneath.
Yeah, no, I totally see it.
That is a goldfinch color. That is a goldfinch
100%.
color. And those big buffy wing bars are also goldfinch.
Also total goldfinch.
So it's like
goldfinch.
If you're looking at your screen, cover the bird's head with your fingers, like I'm doing right now, and just look at the body. And you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a goldfinch. And then, but then get its head in there, like, wait a minute, what the heck is that?
Your mind is blown. Yeah. It's short circuits. That's a brain bird. It short circuits your brain.
Yeah.
That's two in a row.
That's
that
two
we've had. That the pine warbler last week, and then this one this week.
Yeah.
Just weird, wild stuff.
All right, yes, that's our brain bird number 2 for the day. And look at that, we did it again, Nate.
We did it
again.
We went a little long, but that's okay.
Fine.
People are gonna follow us, I think, for the most part.
I hope so.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us for another What's This Bird.
Speaking of joining us,
fun one. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah. If you enjoy these sorts of programming, please consider joining the American Birding Association. We are a membership organization. In addition to helping support all this stuff, you get access to our amazing magazines, Birding and North American Birds. You get access to ABA Community, which is kind of our online membership directory / social media space, where all the cool birders are hanging out. And just the knowledge of knowing that you're helping promote birds and birding around the U.S. and Canada.
Absolutely.
Also get some really good discounts to some of our partners. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Hit the like button. Subscribe to us on all our various social media channels. And you can find us on most of them.
And hey, Instagram, welcome to the party. A little late for us, but
we'll be back.
We'll be here every couple of weeks, and hope you enjoyed it. And yep, I think that's it for us, folks. So you guys have some fun.
aba.org/join. Like us, subscribe, listen to the podcast. It's free. Find out where we're going to be. Sign up to our newsletter, which is free. We're not going to sell your email address or anything like that, but we will give you a heads up when we do these. We're back every couple weeks or so. We'll be back. We'll be back soon.
Yep. All right.
Adios, everybody.
Peace.